It's round 3 of the USL Jägermeister Cup at Trinity Health Stadium in Hartford as Hartford Athletic takes on Detroit City FC. Good evening, a beautiful night in the capital city with Mark Donaldson. I'm Joe D'Ambrosio, and Mark, Hartford comes in off one of the best performances in franchise history last weekend against Loudoun.
They were outstanding. Everything they did came off. I thought their work rate was outstanding. You know what? They scored 3. They could easily have scored a lot more. The bar has been set, and it's been set pretty high, Joe.
Hartford 2-0 in cup play. Let's see how they got there. Here's Obalola. Good speed. Gets grabbed from behind by Messer.
Great advantage.
And they say play on. Here's a shot and a goal! Welcome to Hartford, Jack Peniotu. Here's Varela. Save made. Diving stop by Siaha. Here's Engelina. Michi sends it for Jang all the way through, and a goal! Jack Peniotu with number 2, and it's 2-0 Hartford.
Obregon puts it away for 1-0. Chance for Cariago to get it out of his feet and equalize the match in brilliant fashion. A second chance from the spot. Same results. It's 2-1 Westchester. Rolled back, the shot. Another equalizer from Hartford. Samadia. Outswinger, knotted down.
So, Mark, as we look at the Group 4 standings, Hartford knows what they must do to get out of the group.
So, if they're tied at the top of the Rhode Island and they face them on the final game, it would go down to goals scored. Rhode Island has 9, Hartford has 6. Hartford need to hit the goal trail tonight.
Lineups and kickoff coming up. It's the Jägermeister Cup. Hartford and Detroit on ESPN+.
An injured knee might look pretty simple, but there's a whole person behind that injury. One who misses the feel of his jump shot and spending time with friends on the court. It's not enough just to heal. He needs to get back out there. At Trinity Health, we're here to help you reach your goals. We combine all the knowledge and expertise of a national health system with personalized health care that treats the individual behind the injury. Because we see all of you.
The Great Fire of 1835 forced most insurance companies to close, but not us. The day our founders pitched in to pay every claim is the day the Hartford became the Hartford.
At Lux Bond & Green, we have been designing and crafting custom jewelry for decades. It's an art as much as a science, and really there's no room for error. It comes down to 100 little choices made by our own artists and experts who listen to you and create your perfect engagement ring by hand. Quality, value, and selection. Lux Bond & Green Jewelers throughout Connecticut and Massachusetts.
Hartford Athletic would like to thank the Mandel JCC of Greater Hartford, the official fitness center of Hartford Athletic. Visit mandeljcc.org to learn more. Last Fly is the leader in airport parking at Bradley International. Save 20% by pre-booking on lastfly.com. Last Fly, a proud supporter of Hartford Athletic. Just a picture-perfect night as Blaze, the Connecticut Sun mascot, makes an appearance. It's Dylan's birthday, so mascots from near and far are here. Here's the Hartford lineup, brought to you by Liberty Bank. One big difference from last week.
Yeah, no, Kyle Edwards today, the Hartford top scorer with 5 this season, so he's replaced by Jonathan Jimenez. Jiang will lead the line, and Galina and Jimenez will provide the width.
And on the other side, Detroit with a different lineup than we saw when they were here back in May.
Yeah, it's an interesting one for them because even a win might not be enough for them to go through to the latter stages of this competition. 6 of the players that started here on the 10th of May also start tonight. Herrera, Bryant, Wheat, Amu Mensah, Ryan Williams, and Darren Smith.
Yeah, no Jay Chapman, the former Hartford Athletic player. As you look at the keeper, Carlos Herrera, who did play in Game 1 against Hartford, which was a scoreless draw. There's Anthony Siaha. Mark's keys to the game unlocked now, brought to you by Hoffman.
If it doesn't get much better than last week, how do you replicate last week? Well, we will see. It's as simple as that. From Detroit's perspective, one thing Hartford did so much better than Loudoun last week was the intensity. They have to match the intensity that Hartford show. And I think if you can turn this Hartford defense, if you're Detroit, that might give you the chance to play the game a little bit further forward, because Loudoun were unable to do so last week.
82 degrees, winds blowing from right to left at 9 miles an hour. You look at the leading goal scorer for Detroit City, Darren Smith, but he has not scored a goal in his last 6 games. Our referee tonight, Rodrigo Albuquerque. He's done 2 USL games and 2 U.S. Open Cup games. And we are underway. Round 3 of the Jägermeister Cup. Hartford in second place with 6 points. Detroit in a tie for third with 3. They beat Pittsburgh 1-0 and then lost to Portland 4-2. And, of course, Hartford with wins against Portland and Westchester. Hartford set a league record last week with 6 points. So here's Sebastian Anderson, he of the long throw-ins. Into the box, headed out by Obdali Diop. This is a series that has been one-sided in favor of Detroit. 3 wins, 3 draws, and 1 Hartford victory. Hartford looking to capitalize on the momentum from last week. Send it to the box. Anderson's in there, a shot, and a goal! Sebastian Anderson, a minute 20 in. And it's 1-0 Hartford. Talk about picking up where they left off.
That was the key to the game. I don't know if you could eclipse what you did last week, but you could try and maintain it. 80 seconds. And once again, someone who's had such a good season so far when he gets forward, Sebastian Anderson. You know what? He could have tried to pull the trigger. His body shape wasn't in the right position to try and take a slash at it. Instead, he took his time and he caressed that beyond the goalkeeper. What a start for Hartford. Wonder what the expected goals in the first 80 seconds was.
For Sebastian Anderson, it is his first goal since July 20th, 2019 for Colorado Rapids against NYFC. So Sebastian Anderson, once again, Mark, we saw last week Anderson and Samadia pinching in, trying to help the attack, and Hartford has Detroit on the run. This is a Detroit team that played a midweek game against the last place team in La Liga and lost 1-0 to Santos Laguna. They played a lot of their reserves that night, but when they were trailing, Danny DiCio brought a lot of starters back in as well.
Yeah, he's done well, Danny DiCio, as their coach. Look, if you're going to concede, you concede 80 seconds after kickoff rather than 80 seconds before the end of the game, because it's extremely difficult to do anything if you concede so late on. But I was going through the notes when you and I did the game on the 10th of May. Look, let's be honest. If it was radio, we might have made it a little bit better than it actually was. But it was TV. It was rubbish. It was not a good game. Detroit had slightly better. Hartford's first chance came after 85 minutes and a Joe Farrell header. And they didn't play well that night, but they've got the momentum from last week. Having it is one thing. Doing something with it is another. And they've started off so well.
And Galena almost took a boot in the face. Now Carriaga, he had that golden opportunity last week that he just couldn't capitalize on. So talk about the way it was drawn up on the chalkboard before the game. Score 80 seconds in. There's a foul called on Sebastian Anderson, pleading his case with Rodrigo Albuquerque.
Going to be interesting tonight, Joe, to see the difference of position for Jonathan Jimenez compared to Kyle Edwards. I don't think there'll be too much of a difference. But just a little bit deeper right now, Jimenez. That's a push in the back and earns himself a free kick.
It's a Detroit team with plenty of ex-Hartford players. Ryan Williams, Jesse El Cedeno, Matt Sheldon, throw-in. Trinity Health of New England, proud to be the official medical provider and title partner of Hartford Athletic. Always committed to providing the best healthcare experience every day for every patient. Trinity Health of New England, we see all of you. This is a Detroit team that started off well, went through an 8-game winless streak, including the U.S. Open Cup loss to Chicago, before they're winning their last game when they beat a Miami team 4-2, Miami team that's been a lot better. Nice tackle by Hairston. Jang looking in the middle. Couldn't get it to Jimenez, then it goes back to Herrera.
They've got goals in them, Joe. Detroit, they've got a lot of talent middle to front. It's just got to find a way that Loudon couldn't last week to try and get the ball quicker to them.
Hartford wanted a handball on Diop. Nothing called. Change of possession. Anderson open on the right. Here's a shot. Fired over the top of the goal boy. Sebastian Anderson was all by himself on the right wing.
He was an option, but Mishi decided to go himself, and I like that. We've spoken over the past few weeks about options. Yes, he did have a better option, but that is not something I think Mishi Ingalina would have tried a few weeks ago. He's been low in confidence, but just in the past few weeks, especially last week, he's just starting to get back to the old Michi that we remember. And he could have passed it to Sebastian Anderson. Instead, had a go. Don't have any issue with that whatsoever, because that tells me he's confident, and he wasn't a few weeks ago.
Hartford last week, season highs in shots with 22 and shots on target with 11. Scarlett there to get a header on it.
It was a North Carolina game here, wasn't it? That was just, if that wasn't the bottom of the barrel, then it was pretty darn close.
Well, yes, it made the Detroit game seem like a World Cup final.
It did, but do you know what? When you're at the lowest of the low, you cannot go any lower. And it was a case of, okay, let's reset. Can't change what's in the past. Let's influence what we can do going forward. And since then, they've been so much better.
Samuel Carriaga, followed by Devon Amumensa. He gets a talking to by Rodrigo Albuquerque.
Not a bad crowd for vacation time. The kids are off school, so a lot of people will be away on vacation, but still a decent attendance on the back of that Loudon game last Friday.
Atez Diop with the steal on Anderson to turn possession over. That's Diop, who had been out of action till the last couple of games. Here's a ball played across the 18. Nobody there but green shirts. 1-0 Hartford on the goal, 80 seconds in by Sebastian Anderson. Hartford looking for another strong performance like they got last week from Samuel Carriaga.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, he kind of disappeared a little bit from the game, but he's a player that can just make things happen. As can this man.
Foul in the middle of the pitch. It'll be a Hartford restart. The Hartford is back again and excited to help our team win. From kickoff to extra time, they're proud to show their support for our amazing community. As a founding partner of Hartford Athletic, visit thehartford.com to learn more.
What I've noticed in the early stages is something that Detroit are doing, and I'll tell you in a second after this Hartford attack.
Hartford's done such a better job the last 2 weeks linking passes together, and a lot of that is due to the midfield work of Marlon Hairston. And the other thing last week that Hartford did so well that they will try to build on is winning 50-50 balls.
Yeah, I'll get back to the point I was going to make because we're back with Joe Farrell. They're narrow tonight, Detroit, and I think they're narrow because Hartford are playing narrow. And you've got Sebastian Anderson and you've got Samaria who can come in field, or, as we can see right now, with Samaria just being bypassed just now, have gone wide. But Detroit are doing that as well. That was a good tackle on Mishi. Some fans wanted a free kick, but it wasn't. So by pushing Cedeno more central, it gives them extra bodies in there. But a sore one. It was more the landing. There was no problem with the challenge on Mishi and Galina. It was just the way he landed. He'll be fine. No problem at all.
Albuquerque blows the play dead to go look at Michi.
When you have a team like Hartford who've... It's not a case of stumbling on a formation. They've worked on a formation, and it was actually a formation that they played a couple of weeks ago with Dees Pay as the centre-back instead of Joe Farrell because he'd been sent off. And it didn't work with Dees Pay, but it really works with these three. But it can be narrow, and that's what Dikio has seen. And that's why he, right now, doesn't have too much width in his team. He wants to try and stop the space for Hartford in that central area.
So it'll be a drop ball about 10 yards into the defensive zone. Anderson will play out to the captain, the Iron Man, Jordan Scarlett. Was subbed off in his first game for Hartford last year and hasn't been subbed off since. Samadia plays it.
Unlucky.
A little too far, but a good idea.
You can be forgiven for thinking when you look at a team and you see their position in the league standings that they're low in confidence and everything like that. But everything Hartford have done today so far and last week against Loudoun, there's no fear of failure. There's no issue with having the ball, trying something, and if it doesn't come off, you know what, fine, okay, but let's just like Michi and Galina 22 yards out, have a go, fine, I like that.
Matt Sheldon, who spent the 23 season in Hartford, called for the foul. He had started the last two games. No Alex Villanueva in the starting lineup. No Connor Roots. And as we said, no Jay Chapman. So Hartford lines up at the 18, looking to expand on their 1-0 lead. It's Anderson. Headed by Shane Wheat. It'll be a Hartford throw-in.
Brandon's got to be happy with where the game is being played right now. The majority of it inside the Detroit half.
There's the sweeper keeper, Mr. Siaha. Had a big game against Detroit here with 6 saves.
We had that one low, didn't he, that we showed in the highlights pre-game. That was a brilliant save.
Amu Mensah blocked by Samadia, now on the right side. Hartford all over Detroit at the start. Samadia looking for Angelina. It's a little too far, and the ball runs over the far goal line. It'll be a goal kick for Carlos Herrera. On the season in league play, 3-3-4. These stats do not count as far as regular season USL Championship play is concerned.
Detroit were excellent last season, finishing 3rd in the regular season in the Eastern Conference. Hartford with that belated effort to try and get into the playoffs, just too little too late. But a good effort nonetheless after a pretty poor start to the season. And it wouldn't be a surprise if this season kind of mirrored what we saw last season, the average start and then the pick-up mid-season and then the race to the finish line.
After tonight, Hartford's off for a couple of weeks, and lo and behold, their next game at Keyworth Stadium against Detroit. Their regular away USL game against the team from Motown.
That was nicely done by Ryan Williams, former Hartford player.
Here's Amu Mensah. Looks for cutters. He had Diouf cutting, but Hartford read the play, and Jordan Scarlett plays it up the head on the left, and now Samadia back up on the left side. Play on. Comes this side, looking for Carriaga. Amu Mensah.
Again, not sure.
Interception.
Sorry, Joe. I'm not sure if Michi would have tried that a few weeks ago. The diagonal was a right ball.
Trying to go over the top. Here's an opportunity in the box. Prestis back. Defending Smith. Drops it off. Here's Sheldon. Back to Smith. This is the first real deep opportunity. Scarlett gets ahead on it. Half volley isn't made. Carriaga can't clear. Amu Mensah swings it on the left. Here's Diop. 1v1. Puts it on goal, and Siaha elevates to tip it over the bar.
He's a talent. That's Diop, and it's good to see him with his injury problems behind him. That was a decent strike and a good save by Anthony Siaha. The dip on that late.
Quick restart. Here's Diop. Sends it across for the header and a goal, and we're equal at 1.
You got to track the runner. The second man running wasn't tracked. That's a super finish. It really is. A decent header coming in from Matt Sheldon.
So Matt Sheldon, Johnny on the spot to equal the match at 1. And I'm sure that feels good for Sheldon.
That was a super run. You gamble. And when you gamble, sometimes it doesn't work. But he's in the right place at the right time. He's played onside, and that's a super header. Just lurking there, Matt Sheldon.
Didn't see who got the header to Sheldon, but
might have been Michael Bryant.
He's usually up in those situations. And I think they took Hartford by surprise with the very quick restart. The short, quick restart, as you see Sheldon holding the pose.
Yeah, with Cedeno, the two former Hartford players, suddenly joined by Ryan Williams. They did take it quick, and look, that's on Hartford. You've got to be ready. And if you're not ready, when the ball's played to where it was, when it's headed back across goal, everyone has to pick up their man. Whoever it was that didn't pick up Matt Sheldon, they'll know. And now it's 1-1. Good response from Detroit. Very good response.
Michael Bryant did get the assist.
It was the moustache that gave it away.
16th minute. Randy's Worcester Street Pizza, the official pizza of Hartford Athletics. Stop by the stadium or visit their other Connecticut locations to enjoy some of the best pizza Connecticut has to offer. So the match even at 1. A couple of guys usually see that.
Yeah, so it was. 25 pounds ago.
Carriaga slips on the turf. Diop gets it. Here's Artez Diop. Drops it back. Ball is blocked. Anderson
It's a foul.
taken down. Foul is called, and then Jang and Amu Mensah exchange some pleasantries.
Certainly not a dirty player, Jesse El Cedeno. He's a talented player. He's got a lot of ability. Tackling was never his forte.
Spent 3 years in Hartford after making the team in open tryouts, and then was traded to Oakland for Edgardo Root. Danny Dicchio having a nice conversation with Justin Lopez, the fourth official.
Shall we give him his full name because it's Saturday? Daniele Salvatore Ernest Dicchio. Former QPR striker among many others who had a spell in Serie A.
Also played for Toronto FC.
Did. That's where he ended his career. Former England under-21 international. England under-21s winning the Euros today against Germany in extra time.
You saw Michael Bryan, who had the header that set Matt Sheldon up after the off served it into the box. And momentum has gone the other way.
That's never a free kick.
Here's Diop. Getting space. Carriaga hustles back. Nice play by Carriaga. Anderson leaves it for him, but Diop is taken down, and the Detroit coaching staff outraged.
And no wonder. No, that was a foul. They should have had a free kick. Not on this one. the one just before that. Clearly a foul to Detroit. Referee didn't see it that way. That's fine. He's got a whistle. We've got a microphone. It's a foul after that, but it's before. That's a foul by Cariaga. He's the wrong side, and he's fouled Abdoulaye Diop.
You see Cariaga taken down. They attend to make that Anderson back on the turf. Hartford Athletic would like to thank Nuova Pasta for supporting our Goals for Meal program. For every Hartford Athletic goal scored this year, Nuova Pasta will donate meals to help the fight against food insecurity in our community. So Williams none the worse for wear. Sebastian, Hartford's goal scorer in the second. Siaha has the only save of the match. Cariaga climbed again, and that elicited a tepid response. Oh, nice pass. Here's Anderson. Sends it in, can't get it all the way through. Good play made by the captain, Stephen Carroll. Sent in, punched out by Herrera.
Good goalkeeping.
They look for Smith on the run out. Smith settles, weaves, cuts, shoots, blocked, rebound.
Oh!
What a save! Oh! Anthony keeping it a 1-all game.
Well, first of all, TJ Prestis' leg stopped Detroit from scoring right there to deny Darren Smith. But then a nice little layoff from Diouf. That is a brilliant save from Anthony Siaha.
Doesn't look like it'll be the quick corner that we saw on the goal. Second corner of the match for Detroit City. Far post. Siaha can't play it.
You know what? They're very, very lucky. And he's very, very lucky. He's a goalkeeper that can make some brilliant saves. But when you've just made a save like that, you've got adrenaline pumping through your veins. You think you're invincible. So you come for a cross you should really get. And when you make a mistake, you're very fortunate that that header went wide. So both the good and the bad from Anthony Siaha in the space of about a minute and a half. No harm, no foul. Still 1-1.
And Detroit has certainly taken time of possession away from Hartford.
They're a good side. They're a better team than Loudoun.
Yes.
And this is a test. Hartford got everything their own way last week because they were so good that Loudoun didn't have any answers. Detroit, despite going a goal down, they've gone behind this season and they've bounced back well. I was talking earlier about just the keys to the game, getting the Hartford defence turned. We saw it there, a ball over the top. Give me Darren Smith any day over any of the three centre-backs in a race for pace. And that's something, the further up the pitch that Hartford come with their centre-backs, the more space is there for the ball over the top. That's something to watch today.
Detroit doing a much better job of press. Here's Siaha drifting into the middle and playing back to Jordan Scarlett. We're even at 1 here in the 24th minute. Round 3 of year 1 of the Jägermeister Cup. Prestis gives to Cariaga. They play for TJ Prestis. Plays it ahead. Hairston didn't get the full boot on it. Played back to Anderson. Hartford, 3 points behind Rhode Island, which clobbered Portland 4-1 last night. Cleared into the box. Jang can't get a head on it. And it drifts over the goal line.
Brilliant ball in from Samaria. And that's something he's excelled at this season. Just too high for Momo Dieng. But when you see this delivery in here, it's quick, the delivery. It's actually really good defending by Detroit. Don't necessarily need to win the ball. You just need to do enough to make sure that the opposition doesn't. Good game, this one.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. Distilled 6 times till it's just right. Tito's is known for great vodka, giving back and doing good for dogs. Distilled and bottled by 5th Generation Incorporated, Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly. As we got another Hartford player down.
Yeah, this is something we saw earlier with Michi and Galina. There's no foul. It's the landing. And it's a sore one for Jordan Scarlett. He's made of some strong stuff. And he'll be fine.
Let's get a look at that save earlier by Siaha when he elevated the big fella, tipping it over the bar.
It's a good effort from Atestiev. And then that one as well. And then thought he was invincible and came for the corner and was nowhere near it. A goalkeeper's life, huh?
Jordan Scarlett runs over Jesse El Cedeno. Foul is called.
That was the voice of the 4th official today, Justin Lopez, giving an explanation to Danny Dicchio.
Saying, Danny, what do you... This is what happened. Detroit's been called for 6 fouls. Hartford's only been called for 2.
2 that were.
Right, maybe one or more that weren't.
One or at least one that they got away with. Ooh,
Anderson
goodness me.
Hit hard. And that's going to be a yellow card on Devon Amumensa here in the 27th minute.
Why do you need to make that challenge like that?
Their shape.
Yeah, they did, and they just got deeper and deeper and kind of gave up all hope. But Detroit scoring 15 minutes after Hartford had opened the scoring. No issue with this being an open game, and I don't think Brendan will be as well. Brendan Burke, the Hartford coach, because they need goals. The key thing for Hartford today is not to lose.
Right.
Because they get a draw here, they will go through. If they win at Rhode Island, they will top the group. If they win at Rhode Island, their last game, and that game takes place on the 26th of July at the Centerville Bank Stadium, the new stadium.
That's after they play the week before there in the regular season.
Yeah, they do. That's a 4 o'clock kickoff in the regular season, and then the Cup tie is a 7 p.m. kickoff.
We might have to take a road trip.
I was thinking just that.
Here's Jimenez starting for the injured Edwards. Plays it to Samadia. In the box, a shot and a goal! Michi and Galina makes it 2-1 Hartford. And for Michi and Galina, that's got to feel good.
No touch by Dieng. The interesting thing would be, was he in an offside position? Don't think he was. No issue at all, according to the assistant. And that's just a good goal. He started his run, Dieng, from an onside position, so even if there was a touch, there wouldn't have been a problem. But so pleased for Michi and Galina. If ever one player just needed a goal, we've seen the confidence come back in droves. Now he's got his goal. He just seems happy again. And a happy Michi and Galina is a big positive for Hartford Athletic.
In regular season play, Michi hadn't scored a goal in the run of play since last August 17th against Las Vegas. He did score a penalty kick against Charleston in the loss down in the Mid-South. So Michi and Galina makes it 2-1. Jonathan Jimenez gets the assist. So it takes Hartford 13 minutes to answer back. Good anticipation, nice steal. Prestes, good ball in the middle. Hartford on the attack. Here's Carriaga. Tries to play it through. Keeps possession.
It's a foul.
And the foul is called on Stephen Carroll.
Yeah, it's an unnecessary challenge on Jimenez. And this is something that Carriaga fancies from this free kick. Brendan Burke wondering if that could be a yellow card. Don't think the referee's going to give that. It's just going to be a free kick. But that's something that we haven't seen for a while. That driving run from a midfielder from Hartford. It's options, yes, but look at the run. He gets beyond Amu Mensah, still goes, and then the unnecessary challenge, which eventually comes in. And a free kick, and Cariaga fancies this one, as does Anderson, as does Samaria. So that'll keep goalkeeper Herrera guessing.
Hartford Athletic would like to thank Lux Bond and Green, partner since 1898, celebrating life's special moments. Will this be a special restart for Hartford, already leading 2-1, a half an hour in? And it's an engaged crowd here at Trinity Health Stadium.
Cariaga really fancies this one, and he's got options as well. It's because when you're there, you can go up and over the wall and into the nearest part of the goal, try and get top corner near side, or you can keep the goalkeeper guessing and go his side in the hope that he cheats and goes left. So there's a good disguise on that one, and he's tried to use Ryan Williams' body as a shield. That's decent from Hartford, just couldn't keep it on target, and that's a good kick out.
Sheldon runs it down. The goal scorer into the box. Prestis clears out. Hartford can't control. Amu Mensah to Williams. Now Diop sends it wide. Goal kick Hartford. So the goal was Michi Engalina from Jonathan Jimenez in the 29th minute. Shots now even at 4 apiece. Shots on target, 2 for Hartford. Both have gone in.
That's probably as clinical as Hartford have been this season, is it not? 2 shots, 2 goals?
Yep. 3 saves already for Anthony Siaha.
And that's the other thing, Joe, as well. When you play like this, and they're fun to watch, they really are. They've gone from that game against North Carolina where it's just like, okay, can't get worse than this. They really have picked up. And they know they're going to concede chances at the other end because of the way they play, but they're confident they'll create. And here's Engalina again.
Michi with Samaria in support. Gives it to him. Now Engalina along the east sideline. Hartford will play it back and look to create some space. We've seen Anderson and Samadia both pinch in quite a bit on the attack, and that was something Hartford was looking to do. Now Michi, and you got to think, Mark, his confidence is coming back. Hartford keeps it in, did not go out. Here's Michi in the box, looking for space. Nice job that time by Diop to come back.
Too kind there.
Played for Jang. Momo. Drop it back for TJ Prestis. Now Cariaga. Shot. Deflected. Towards Wethersfield.
There's a Hooters there, isn't there?
Exactly.
They're all over the place at the back. Amu Mensah right now having words with the ref, having words with his teammates. He was about 5 yards back in part of that move, and if Hartford had realised that, he was playing everybody on side. I like the part that Prestis is having coming forward, because he knows he's not technically gifted, he's not like a winger or anything, but he's a threat, and it leads to Hartford's first corner of the game.
Tonight's WTNH Youth Soccer Team of the Match, Manchester Soccer Club, not City or United, just Manchester. Albuquerque.
There's a Hooters there as well, isn't there?
Yeah. Why do you know every Hooters?
Love chicken.
Yeah. So Anderson awaits the discussion.
If you mention Milford, there's a Bob's there, but we'll move on. As well as another one.
Anderson from the near side. Bends it over.
It had gone out before it came back in.
It had gone out of bounds.
That's, by the way, 35th minute has flown by so far, has it not?
Great first half hour. Tonight's match presented by the Hartford. Please join us in helping founding partner the Hartford celebrate more than 75 years of educating children about fire safety with their Junior Fire Marshal program. Visit juniorfiremarshal.com to learn more.
This is good by Samaria
Here's
to win
the
it back.
steal. Here's Angelina.
Should be a goal kick.
And it will.
But again, it's the pressing.
Yep.
This is what they did last week. You allow teams in this league to have time on the ball and dictate. That ain't a good recipe. Get in their faces, especially the defenders, and they'll make mistakes.
Anderson and Angelina for Hartford. Sheldon for Detroit.
There's the mistake.
And there's the turnover. And Carriaga, very active in the first half hour plus.
He's been good.
That's what they look for, box-to-box movement by the Argentinian. Now Hairston will play it back to Joe Farrell.
But Hairston's the steady conductor of the orchestra in the middle of the park.
Hartford goes up the left side once again, where Angelina and Samadia are patrolling. Shots so far, 5-4 in favor of Hartford. Rare mistake by Prestis, taken away by Amu Mensah. Pressured by Anderson, turns it over.
Really good. Again.
Great job.
Mm-hmm.
Great job by Sebastian Anderson.
He's been outstanding.
Now on the far side, in front of the supporters section. Here's Michi. 1v1 with Michael Bryant. Back to Marley Hairston as Hartford patiently forms the attack. Detroit drops. Throw in for Hartford.
Another thing I've noticed so far in the 37 minutes that have been played, whereas a lot of games earlier this season, it was like, where are the options for these Hartford players? No one was showing. And I understand that from teams that have players low in confidence, because you don't want the ball because you're frightened to make a mistake. Every time Hartford have had the ball tonight, there's been someone, whether it's been Hairston in the middle of the park, whether it's been either wide centre back, give me the ball. Movement's been really good as well.
Anderson equidistant with the 18 on the east side line. Lobbed in. Diop plays it up ahead.
That would concern me. The reason that would concern me if I was a Hartford member of the coaching staff, that could have been a 2-on-1 in favour of Detroit. You don't need to gamble that much.
Here's a turnover. Played towards the box, clear it out. Hartford was looking for a foul.
Good touch.
That was not called. Nice play that time. Good play by Scarlett. Here's Angelina, now on the right flank. Michi with a goal already on the night. Carriaga uses his body to shield the defender who goes down.
Nothing wrong with that.
Diouf. Now Samadia. Inside, Jang. Backheads it. Amu Mensah clears not out. Hairston on the volley to Angelina. Plays for Hairston.
It's too much.
Shielded off the ball.
No.
It'll be a goal kick.
Those claiming for a penalty there are the most ambitious people in the stadium. Never. Goal kick.
When it comes to your health, you deserve the best. At St. Francis Hospital, we're proud to provide nationally recognized health care with a patient-centered approach. From cutting-edge treatments to personalized care plans, they put you first every step of the way. St. Francis Hospital healthcare isn't just about awards. It's about you, recognized for excellence, committed to compassionate care. At St. Francis Hospital, they see all of you. Visit trinityhealthofne.org to learn more.
Slightly strange from Matthias Diouf there. I thought he was in a good position to get possession of that diagonal. But it's open and it's stretched right now. I mean, Detroit are done if they don't win the game, so they've got to have a go. And Hartford have so far been pretty clinical with the opportunities they've had.
Well, we wondered if they would pick up where they left off from last week, and I would say they certainly have.
Indeed.
And one huge save from Anthony Siaha, when he looked like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander climbing the ladder to deflect the ball over the goal. Now Detroit gains possession. Play it ahead for Sheldon. Tries to play it in. Cross side. Diouf couldn't get it. It'll be a throw in for Hartford.
He's hardly put a foot wrong today, Marlon Hairston, but he didn't need to be in the vicinity that he was in. By coming a little bit too far to the right there, he left a gap where he would normally be. And where he came into it was already covered by a Hartford teammate. So slightly fortunate there. If that ball in from the right-hand side had been a bit better, Detroit might have had a chance.
Into the 41st minute. There's Wheat. Gives it to Amu Mensah. Cutting inside is Diouf. Now here's Michael Bryant, who set up the Matt Sheldon goal. Shane Wheat, a veteran. They've got a lot of experience who's played together for a while on that back four. Amu Mensah pushing up. Tries to get around the defender. And it'll be a Hartford throw-in. Hartford Athletic would like to thank our founding partner, the Travelers. Thanks to Travelers, presenting partner of our community ticket program. Children from underserved communities throughout Greater Hartford are able to come to the matches free of charge.
What about that ending to the Travelers last week?
Oh.
Got a feel for Tommy Fleetwood, but Captain America,
Keegan Bradley.
Now.
Winning his home region tournament.
Does he play and captain in the Ryder Cup? I think Jack was the last one to do that.
Yeah, and that was before you were born. Unfortunately, not me.
You were born. Golf hadn't been invented by then.
Exactly. It's been a well-played match so far.
From both sides.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a good watch.
Two teams that, what I like, Mark, is they both know what they want to try to do, and they're executing it.
Yeah. Amu Mensah just pushed Brendan Burke out of the way. Oh, and he didn't even give him a high five either. Okay.
And now and then the fourth official puts his arm out like to say to Brendan, sit down. Come on. Seriously? Seriously, Mr. Lopez?
I thought first grade was out for the summer.
Hartford pressing. Detroit forced to retreat to Amu Mensah. Devin Amu Mensah, second team all USL last season. Ball just cleared up in territory, and it'll be Siaha to play it in the box.
One of the options, I think, for Detroit might be to get Ates Diouf a little bit further forward. And I know he's playing as a kind of basically a left midfielder right now, but they have the option to go to a front three and basically have one forward on each of the Hartford centre-backs. And, yeah, gamble because you won't have as much protection for your midfielders, but it would give a bit of a dilemma for Hartford if their back three had three right on top of them, but it would leave space.
They use Siaha to facilitate the offense. A small amount of Brignall Vineyard stoppage time, 2 minutes, has been confirmed by our director, Sir Thomas of Stanwix.
Nothing to do with the referee or the fourth official. No, just what? Ah, there we go.
Now they've upped it to 3.
Yes.
Do I hear 4? And, of course, something can happen in those 3 minutes that extends it to 4.
Minimum of.
Stephen Carroll, pressed by Jang, gets it across to Bryant.
There's more goals in this game.
Yeah, I don't think 2-1s are. I'd be surprised
no, it's not.
if 2-1s are final. Detroit in regular season play, 5 wins, 5 draws, 4 losses. Just 1 win in their last 9. And that does not include the friendly match loss on Wednesday at Keyworth Stadium. Here's a shot.
I wouldn't advise leaving Cedeno, and they've switched off here, Hartford. He's got all the time in the world. Good for Michi.
Michi Engelina comes back to help.
Looked like a dive.
Yeah, and that's what the official said. Good job by Rodrigo Albuquerque there, waving that off. So you see the fourth official, Justin Lopez, saying 3 minutes letting the crowd here know what you already know. Amu Mensah gets it back, serves it, far post, header.
It's good by Samaria, had to be as well.
Samaria back there to help. Corner kick number 3 for the visitors from Detroit here in the 46th minute.
Yeah, Hartford can't switch off. You were perfectly spot on earlier when you said that Detroit took their first corner very quickly and Hartford hadn't really regrouped. And from that throw-in that was taken to Cedeno a couple of minutes ago, Hartford a little bit slow. They need to ensure they don't go in at halftime having just conceded.
It'll come to the left of Anthony Siaha. Headed, cleared out. Still in trouble. Wheat plays it back. Ryan Williams played for Hartford, near one. Sends it in to the left, a header.
Oh, what a chance.
It's chipped over. Wow.
He's got to score. He has to score.
From about 12 yards out. And that's one that Ates Diouf wants back.
The number of times you get something just by lurking at the back post and the ball's perfect, but his body shape's all wrong. He gets underneath it. He needs to get over it and down. He just has to hit the target. There's no excuses. It should be 2-2. It's a let-off for Hartford, but somehow maybe it's a lack of game time from Diouf, the former Lexington player who knew where the back of the net was when he was in League One. But having had that injury, having joined in February, I think this is his first start of 2025. That was a little bit of ring rust from him, and Hartford are fortunate that it's still 2-1.
That ball hangs up. As we said earlier, the wind right to left. Here's Jang. Plays for Michi. Sends it on goal and deflected wide. And, of course, the crowd sees the net ripple and thinks it might have gone in. But it will be corner kick number 2 for the home team. This time is winding down. Boy, it's amazing how much different Michi looks, right?
Yeah, totally. Same as anything in life. Doesn't
Looks
need
like
to be
Michi
sport.
from last year.
Right.
So Samaria will trigger, which means this one will swing out.
And Joe Farrell's an interesting one because he's usually involved quite heavily in set plays.
They look for Farrell. Header block. Farrell volleys over the goal.
That's crystal ball territory there if that comes off. But again, he's your main guy, and if he can peel away, this is what... If you can peel away and what you can do, you might find yourself in a bit of space. So some teams go zonal, some teams go man-to-man. I always think man-to-man's better. There's no excuses. If your guy scores in the opposition, then it's your fault, whereas zonal, you can kind of take away some of the blame by suggesting it wasn't your area. I do prefer man-to-man.
Ball headed, and that's it.
Yeah, good first half for both sides, but for Hartford, yeah, that's important. Could easily had a lot more goals.
And entertaining.
Yep.
First 45 minutes here in round 3 of the Jägermeister Cup. On goals by Sebastian Anderson and Michi Engalina. Hartford leads Detroit 2-1. Our halftime coming up next, right here on ESPN Plus, MyTV9, and WTNH.com.
If anyone thinks cancer is going to define you, they've got another thing coming. We know you are more than someone healing their heart. At Trinity Health, we know the importance of seeing the person behind the patient, the fear, the joy, the journey. Bringing you the expert medical teams and state-of-the-art technological advancements of a national health system, along with the personalized care that helps you feel better. Because we see all of you.
The Great Fire of 1835 forced most insurance companies to close, but not us. The day our founders pitched in to pay every claim is the day the Hartford became the Hartford.
Children will take part in tonight's Juju Fire Marshal play. Please direct your attention to midfield as Keith Parker will lead the Juju Fire Marshal play. Kids, please rise.
It's a really good finish by Sebastian Andersson, but he composed as well. Could easily have rushed at this one. That's a good touch, and then just cushions that ball into the back of the net. But a quick response here, and an excellent header goal. He gambles, does Matt Sheldon, after Michael Bryant put the header back across goal. That's the equaliser. Then Mishi and Galina. That's what you do. Go across the goalkeeper. If there's a touch, it goes in. If there's not a touch and it's on target, it might go in as well. Give the goalkeeper something to do, and that's why Hartford lead by 2-1 at the break. Hartford with a 2-1 lead, 6 shots apiece, decent first half, and more on target from Detroit. I tell you what, Brendan Burke, the Hartford coach, will be happy with that. 2 shots on target, 2 goals, and a 2-1 lead for Hartford at the break.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way.
Focus!
Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power.
Whatever it takes.
Trusted for over 100 years. Tiger Balm's proven herbal blend tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger so that you can rise above pain.
Let's make a Karate Kid.
And get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Wait, come back! Wait, come back, I need more help.
Take a loan off him. Take a loan for free.
Today we went to the beach, and it was totally worth it.
Those look warm.
Serve it cold, or don't serve it at all. Jägermeister. Damn, that's cold.
Brilliant strike from Nicoletto. Push the switchbacks up 1-0. Slotted toward goal. A flying start for Charleston Battery at home.
An injured knee might look pretty simple, but there's a whole person behind that injury. One who misses the feel of his jump shot and spending time with friends on the court. It's not enough just to heal. He needs to get back out there. At Trinity Health, we're here to help you reach your goals. We combine all the knowledge and expertise of a national health system with personalized health care that treats the individual behind the injury. Because we see all of you.
Time for news and notes. North Carolina FC knocking off Lou City, which had been unbeaten in 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. All right. You can hear me now? Because I can hear myself. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Tommy, just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 1, 1.
As a kid, obviously I'm from the area, and I used to watch games, go to games, and to be out there playing, it was awesome.
Now you're a Georgetown guy, and you scored a goal at UConn a couple of years ago.
I did.
What was that year like playing in the Big East play for Georgetown?
It was good. It was a really great year. Interestingly, that goal I scored was. It helped Creighton get in, and they beat us in the final. So maybe
maybe not so smart.
Yeah, it's one of them I wish I could take back. But it was good. My dad went to UConn. I'm obviously from Boston, and I've been down to Connecticut a bunch. So
okay, great.
Been here.
What is it about USL debuts for you? Because for Rhode Island you get 2 assists, and for Hartford you get 2 goals.
I don't want to correct you, but it was just 1 assist on the Rhode Island debut. I don't know.
It did say in the notes that you got 2, so just shh.
All right. Well, anyway, it's good. Yeah, it's important to make a good first impression, and I'm hoping to continue scoring and getting assists.
But you also got something else. Explain what the referee kind of said to you? Because you came over, if it's the far side, I understand, right? You go to the far side, you walk around the pitch, but you're that side. Did he say you have to go off at that specific thing? Or did he kind of just say nothing and give you a red card for your second yellow?
I mean, he told me that he was saying to go to the near side, but the refs that I looked at on the half line were telling me to come to them, and that's kind of what I just know to do. I don't know, I was kind of clapping to the fans a little bit. I was obviously happy with the debut, so I didn't hear anything, but he just came over, and I was obviously very confused and upset. But
didn't spoil it though, did it?
No, it's all right.
No, of course not. What's the biggest change in competition level? What's the toughest thing to adjust to from USL to MLS?
Yeah, I mean, the physicality in USL is honestly very good, and the speed at times it can be even a little more hectic than MLS is. So for me, I felt even last year when I went to Rhode Island and I got called back, the MLS games felt very similar, even though maybe the quality is a little bit different. For me, being in there, the speed's very similar, and I'm ready for the pace of the game, and I was able to do well in both.
How important is it to have rivalries in the game in this area in the Northeast? You've come from the Revs, you've played for Rhode Island, you're now here at Hartford. It means that fans, I mean, where I'm from in Scotland, away fans are at every single game. Here, you play against Monterey, just down the road. So you play against Rhode Island, you play against the Revs, you can get fans there. How big a rivalry, how big a help can that be to kind of set up this head-to-head fan rivalry?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think we have 2 games against Rhode Island, too. And last year, Hartford was a big rival of theirs. So this is definitely an interesting move, and I'm curious to see how.
This is 2 years in a row, Jack, that you've been loaned out, and it's happened in the middle of the year. What's the adjustment like? What's the toughest part about that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, obviously I got to leave my house back at home and come live in a new place and have a whole new team, plays a different formation, different style. But at the end of the day, it's just soccer, just playing the game that I enjoy, and it's really good for me to continue to get games as a young player. So I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah. What made you go viral as a 12-year-old? I read about that. What did you do?
I think it was 2 things. So first, I went to Bayern Munich and trained, which was interesting, and then I did a bunch of skill videos off of that. So I think they kind of had both of those, and the internet was going crazy at the time. So I don't know. It was interesting. I didn't know kind of why. I was just kind of doing these skill videos because this guy worked with the club that I was part of, but it all kind of took off.
And my last question: have you found a good Shake Shack around here?
I found one yesterday.
You did?
I didn't go. I went to Whole Foods instead because I'm eating healthier. But
there's one at the mall, isn't there?
There's a Shake Shack in West Hartford.
Really?
So
yeah, I'll have to check it out. My teammates back at Revs, they still make fun of me for that news.
For this story, and then
I had 20 minutes of interviews, and they took that one.
Oh, of course.
I'm going to see what they'll take.
Yeah, what do you do out of this?
Yeah, we'll see.
One final thing from me: Jordan Scarlett's got a target 5 goals for himself this season, and he's got his first. What was your target before your debut, and has that changed now as far as goals are concerned?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, one of my main targets is helping this team make the playoffs and make a good run in the playoffs. But one of the other things I set for myself is 10 goal contributions for the season. But I'm hoping that I may even have more than that. But that for me is kind of like really what I want to get, and then if they get even more off of that. But like I said, the biggest thing is getting wins for this team and doing what I can to help.
Turn on your TV and get ready to be entertained. Few things can captivate a mass audience like live sports. And if a broadcast feels like magic,
a lot of people just think you flick the switch and it's easy and it magically appears, but there's so much that goes into it behind the scenes.
Mike Friedman is the vice president and executive producer at NEP Media Services. For USL national broadcasts on CBS, Friedman's team is close to 40 people.
They're led by the producer and director. That's for any production. And then from there, you have associate directors, you have graphics people, you have replay people, you have the camera operators, you have engineers, you have tech managers, all working for that one common goal of a smooth broadcast.
Now, here's something you may not know. At NEP in South Florida, hundreds of broadcasts in the USL Championship, League One, and Super League are broadcast remotely. All stadium cameras feed directly to NEP. And just like a truck on site, camera shots are switched live. And there are eyeballs on the product. In April, CBS's production of Phoenix Rising FC at San Antonio FC peaked at 776,000 viewers.
The way we do TV for other sports is different than soccer, so it's finding that sweet spot of taking what people are used to seeing and adding that American TV touch into it.
If anyone thinks cancer is going to define you, they've got another thing coming. We know you are more than someone healing their heart. At Trinity Health, we know the importance of seeing the person behind the patient, the fear, the joy, the journey. Bringing you the expert medical teams and state-of-the-art technological advancements of a national health system, along with the personalized care that helps you feel better. Because we see all of you.
The Great Fire of 1835 forced most insurance companies to close, but not us. The day our founders pitched in to pay every claim is the day the Hartford became the Hartford.
Beautiful Saturday night here in Hartford. 2-1, Hartford Athletic leading Detroit City FC. Our match brought to you in part by LDI Connect, Jody Ambrosio, Mark Donaldson, and our terrific Power Station crew. So let's get inside the coaches' heads. If you're Danny Dicchio, what do you do different?
I would push up Alice Diouf a little bit further forward. I'd go to 4-3-3, and I'd play on the three Hartford centre-backs. You can ask a little bit more from your midfielders if you do that, but you might be outnumbered. But they're going to make a change, and that's an interesting one because
coming in for Amu Mensah.
Yeah, Amu Mensah was booked after 27 minutes, so that negates any issue of a potential second yellow card.
Which would only affect their last Jägermeister Cup.
It would, because Panayotou was sent off, was he not? Against Portland when he'd scored the 2 goals, so he missed the game at Westchester. Plus, he's been injured as well. So you've got they're lining up right now as a kind of 5-3-2, but knowing they need to score, I would expect the 3 centre backs to kind of be the defenders, and then the 2 wide players to practically push forward whenever they get the opportunity. It'll be a 5 defending, and it'll be a 3 when pushing forward. So they'll get more bodies forward in the second half.
And if you're Hartford?
Not too much different. Yeah, I think I maybe want to see Momo Dieng get more involved in the game. Not him personally as far as what he needs to do, just to provide him with more service, because he's put so much running. His work rate in that first half I thought was exceptional. But I did see Aaron Wheeler just having 1 or 2 words with Momo Dieng after the players had come back out prior to the kickoff. But so far, yeah, pretty good. The one thing that they've done really well is get clinical. 2 shots on target, 2 goals. That's pretty good.
Villanueva more of a offensive threat than Amu Mensah. It'll be a Samadia throw-in right in front of the Detroit technical area. Farrell under pressure. Second ball. Taken by Detroit, cleared.
I think what they'll do with Matt Sheldon, they'll play him as a kind of right wing back in this second half. So they've moved Michael Bryant into right centre back, with Stephen Carroll to his right and Shane Wheat to his right. And then on the left-hand side, Villanueva,
Villanueva to the left, which is where he normally plays. He had started 13 of 14 USL matches. So it'll be a Hartford throw-in. First half shots, 12-8 in favor of Detroit. Shots on target in the first half. Detroit had 2. Or Detroit had 3, I should say. Hartford had 3.
Yeah, the 3 on target. Diouf after 15, Sheldon after 16, and then
Scarlett gets beaten. Here's Smith and sends it across harmlessly. Good job by Scarlett to cut down the angle there after initially getting beat. As you look at Anthony Siaha, big fella in goal for Hartford. So Hartford restarts. Taken away by Detroit. Here's Jesse El Cedeno. Looking for Smith, but Scarlett marked him tightly. So the ball rolls to Siaha in the box.
yeah, Ryan Williams is basically the protector in front of the back 3. So 3-1, 4-2 for Detroit.
Once again, they did not bring Reese Williams, Jay Chapman, or Ben Morris. 3 players who have seen quite a bit of time this year.
They have indeed pushed Diouf a little bit further forward.
Anderson and Galena for Hartford. Sheldon with the 1-1 equalizer in the 16th minute for Detroit. Detroit being a little bit more precise. Played up ahead on the left. Diouf will get there first. For Cedeno in the middle, Jesse L. tries to spin, keeps it alive to his teammate, former Hartford teammate Matt Sheldon. They played together here in 23 before Jesse L. was sent away for Edgardo Rito. Very deliberate start the second half. Hairston taken down by Diouf. That's whistled by referee Rodrigo Albuquerque. Fans, join us for our next home match Wednesday, July 16th at 7 o'clock as we celebrate Grateful Dead Night, along with everyone's favorite $2 beer, $1 hot dog night presented by Modelo. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today at HartfordAthletic.com.
I got a Grateful Dead album in the Black Friday Record Store day. It was the New Haven concert in 1977. Bet that was fun to be at.
For those who remember it.
I was going to say yes.
Good pressure that time by Bryant, but Hairston takes it away for Hartford.
This is a better shape for Detroit now. It's not going to allow Hartford as much joy as they had in the first half, and it's going to keep Samadia from going forward too much, I would imagine, with Sheldon now someone he's going to have to keep tabs on. But what Hartford can do is what they're doing well right now is Mishi just really force it wide on the left-hand side. Doesn't need to get the ball, but he is an option. So, yeah, fascinating tactical battle right now.
Good move by Farrell to get it to Prestis. TJ goes down.
It's not a foul. He's thinking there was going to be a challenge which never came.
Right. He anticipated.
He anticipated something that didn't happen.
Anderson controls on the far side. We'll drop it all the way back to Siaha.
Says a lot about TJ Prestis to look like he's played in this league.
There's a Grateful Dead flag.
Yeah, indeed. Looks like he's played in this league for a while. Bearing in mind, last year he was captaining Yale while studying, and he looks like he's just stepped up. And there's been absolutely no difference in quality. Just a really good addition to Hartford, TJ Prestis. And he's keeping Adrian Dispe out. Seasoned veteran.
We saw Dispe come in late last week for Michi and Galena as Hartford adapted a more defensive posture with a 3-0 lead. Middle of the pitch. Here's Diop, number 8. No. Ryan Williams in the middle to Bryant. Here's Sheldon with room. Weaves to the middle. Reverses. Plays it to an open Cedeno. Jesse L. sends it in, headed out by Anderson.
Got caught in the throat there, Momo Diang.
Momo writhing in pain on the ground. And we get a yellow card. So Ryan Williams put into the book here in the 52nd minute. As Jiang being helped up by his teammates. You know, on replay, I got to be honest, it didn't look all that bad.
No. That was what Ryan Williams was suggesting.
Had 4 goals, 2 assists in 25 games with Hartford in 2019. 2-1, Hartford on top if you're just joining us. Good crowd on hand at Trinity Health Stadium. Well, here's Samadia with those recognizable orange boots. Slide tackle by Scarlett. Good play by the captain, Angelina. Michi searching. Plays for Carriaga. Triple team. Loses. Sheldon with the takeaway.
Yeah, they've now got that extra man in midfield. That's a good switch at halftime by Danny Dicchio.
Played through. Prestis gets pulled down.
That's a foul by Diouf on Prestis.
Pretty clear cut there. We've got a Detroit player down.
Yeah, their bench is suggesting there was a foul much earlier in the build-up, and they should have had a free kick. Hartford have got 1 or 2 issues now to try and solve as a result of the change in formation. And one of the things that is going to have to happen now is Michi and Galina, who basically has had a free reign in the last 2 weeks, is now going to have to do a lot more defensive work, which he'll be up for doing, but this is a more adventurous setup, as it had to be for Detroit. The referee's got the notebook out again.
Who do we think he's carding? Is that Diouf?
Well, he was the one that had the challenge on Prestis, but it didn't look like it was a cautionable offense.
The Fix is Connecticut's premier standalone IV vitamin therapy boutique, offering customized intravenous vitamin infusions and intramuscular vitamin injections that maximize health, performance, and recovery, with all services administered by licensed, registered nurses. Located in West Hartford Center, visit thefixivtherapy.com.
Jonathan Jimenez has ended up in the book. Might have been for the initial challenge that left the Detroit player on the deck, which I think was then advantage was played. So if that's the case, it makes sense. If not, I have no idea.
Game taking on a little bit more physical tone here in the second 45. Nice ball up the left edge. Villanueva knocked away. Good defensive help on the far side by Carriaga. So it'll be a Villanueva throw-in. Alex Villanueva out of Lancaster, California. First sub in the match tonight. Has a goal and an assist. He's already played 1,000 minutes in regular season play for Detroit, which has played a couple more matches than Hartford. And Hartford off all next week. Here's Williams, marked by Hairston. Bryant, Sheldon.
East Coast this week for Detroit, West Coast next week.
Oakland, in the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum.
Indeed.
Which is what it used to be called. I have no idea what it's called now.
Empty.
Yeah, exactly. Good ball in the middle. Diouf plays it up ahead for Cedeno in the box. Brings it back out against the pressure of Angelina. You know, one thing Michi's gotten much better at is coming back and helping defensively.
Yeah, but they're starting to warm up a few more subs now. Wouldn't be surprised if they were potentially thinking about a change in the next 10 minutes or so. Right
Nice
now,
anticipation by Anderson.
It was, but right now it's a one-man show in attack, and here he goes.
Chang can't get there. Carroll precedes him to the ball and sends it up ahead to Bryant. 2-1. Hartford on top. Hartford 2-0 in the Jägermeister Cup, with wins against the 2 League One teams in Group 4. Detroit with a win against Pittsburgh and a pretty emphatic loss up in Portland. Carried into the box, chipped up in the air, the header. And Samadia there to dribble it out of trouble.
It was the right idea, just couldn't go ahead and find the pass to Michi and Galina.
I asked Brendan Burke on Thursday, did he think USL League One was becoming more competitive with USL Championship, and he said absolutely.
Yeah, there's a fair bit of money in there as well.
Yeah. It's going to be another corner kick. The fourth of the match here as we play in the 58th minute.
New expansion team is popping up as well. New places to go.
Yeah. People to see, things to do.
Indeed.
So the corner will come.
Just hanging around in the middle. Right now, it's not a case of when, not if Detroit score, but the way that the game is being played and where it's being played. It's certainly advantaged Detroit. Brendan and Aaron Wheeler need to come up with a plan here to stem the flow and keep Hartford as an attacking entity.
Anderson in front of the supporters on the far side. Gets it back after a short throw. Boy, Detroit really starting to press the issue.
Well, they are, and what's happening is that Hartford are having to bring midfielders back to get closer to the ball, and that's leaving Momo Dieng isolated through the centre, so that's something they need to work on, how to solve that problem.
And Galina cuts inside of Sheldon.
Oof.
Taken down. That's Diop.
For me, it's a foul, nothing else.
And that's what Rodrigo Albuquerque says. Brendan Burke being chastised by Ryan Canetta.
Second look. If he was to get a yellow for that, then I'm not sure he could have too many complaints. Jordan Scarlett leading the on-field protestations. First look just looked like a normal foul. The replay suggested it might have had a little bit more merit for a yellow card, but not given.
We've had 3 yellows so far, 2 against Detroit, 1 against Hartford.
Thing is, referees don't get replays, coaches don't get replays, players don't get replays. We see it as we think it is.
Push on the far side. Anderson commits the foul. It's a Hartford team that in USL Championship play tied for the 4th fewest foul. Sheldon was calling for the ball on the right flank, traps it, cuts inside of Samadia, header, Scarlett knocks it out, throwing.
Yeah, right now it's between Samadia and Galina, and they've switched off again here.
Played back to Sheldon. It's a different role for Matty. Strictly played on the defensive line here in Hartford 23.
Yeah, but he likes to get forward. It's a perfect role for him in that kind of right wing-back role.
Bumped by Samadi and take it down.
Gonna get at least one change. Might even be 2 changes for Detroit. Connor Roots is coming on. It looks like Haruki Yamazaki is coming on as well. They smell blood, Detroit, and they've got nothing to lose.
Right.
A draw or a defeat is of no use.
Yeah, they go
whatsoever.
Extra, they go into penalty kicks. They've got no shot of getting into the playoffs. So a 2-man wall, Carriaga and then Galina. It'll be Cedeno to trigger from about 10 yards inside the near touchline. 2-1, Hartford on top. Cedeno bloops it in the air. Here's a header. Still up in the air. Prestis heads it out. And we'll get a quarter.
Yeah, they're really on top right now, Detroit and Hartford. Hanging on a little bit. The only positive for them is that Detroit haven't really created, given all the possession they've had in the second half, following the change of shape at half-time. Intrigued to see what the 2 subs do to the formation and who they come on for.
Looks like we'll see Adewale Obalala for Hartford.
And Beverly Makingila, I think, as well.
Here's the corner, bent in. Scarlett heads it over the far touchline. Flourish, proud to be the official catering partner of Hartford Athletic. They provide healthy and delicious catering, meal prep, and takeout. Visit them online at flourishhartford.com or stop by their flyby location at 72 New Park Avenue in Hartford. An hour in to this 3rd round Jägermeister Cup game.
I don't understand why you would need to push and commit the foul there and give away the free kick. It's Carriaga, and now in a position that wasn't really much of an issue while defending, you now have a free opportunity for Detroit to deliver, and they've got plenty of players that are capable of doing so. Just unnecessary there from Carriaga.
Siaha guarding the near post from where the kick will be taken.
Keep tabs on Michael Bryant round the back. If you remember their goal, he was the one that was peeled off round the back, got his head to it and sent it back across goal for Sheldon to nod home.
Yeah, Stephen Carroll there looming in the box.
That's exactly what they try and do.
And the header goes wide. Boy, they ran the play they wanted to.
Yeah, they did.
Almost perfect execution.
Stephen Carroll or Michael Bryant had the opportunity. That's a brilliant delivery from Alex Diouf. And if Stephen Carroll doesn't get to this one, then Michael Bryant will. And the pair of them just looking disinterested as the ball's about to be played in. That's all part of the plan. And now 4 subs, 2 for each side.
So it'll be Haruki Yamazaki in for Diop and Connor Rutz in for Darren Smith.
Interesting.
I want to welcome all of you who are watching around the Detroit metro area and here in the Nutmeg State. Good Hartford Athletic fans like Bob in Old Saybrook. Keeping an eye on the game. Marlon Hashton's night has come to an end. I really saw you off. And Obalola into the game for Hartford, replacing Jonathan Jimenez, who put in a good work ethic.
He did. I think that was the decision. That was the only decision that Brendan Burke and Aaron Wheeler had to make pre-game, was who was going to replace Kyle Edwards. That's sloppy from Hartford.
Hartford's starting to turn the ball over. 2-1. Athletic in front. Here's Cedeno against Samadia with Engalina in support. Sheldon, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Good defense by Samadia. Boy, what an effort by Emmanuel Samadia. And he's taken down and the foul called on Sheldon. Boy, talk about 1v1 defense. Played to a T there by Samadia against that man, Matt Sheldon. Hartford still without a shot in this second half. Detroit has just 2. But they have carried the play, Mark, since coming out of the locker room.
Yeah, the 2 changes for Hartford, looks like it's just a straight swap. Makingila for Hairston and Obalola for Jimenez. That was the choice that Brendan Burke, Aaron Wheeler and the coaching staff had pre-game. Who's going to start? They chose Jimenez. Now his race is run and Obalola gets the last 25 minutes or so. I'd just like to see Hartford play the game a little bit further forward. They're just getting drawn in and suckered in a little bit to play too deep. So the high line that they've got right now is an encouraging sign. It's about a couple of yards from halfway.
Brendan Burke says they're at their best when they play on their front foot. They have
I agree.
Not played on the front foot the first 20 minutes here of half number 2.
No, but credit to Danny Dicchio and his coaching staff as well. It was the right change tactically with the flat back 3. It's allowed a lot more from Matt Sheldon, who can basically play the dual role, right back or right midfielder. It's perfect for that right wing.
Take it away! Obalola Herrera slides out.
It's not a penalty.
And saves the day.
Yeah, it's good goalkeeping after poor defensive work from Detroit. That could have been a lot worse.
Carlos Herrera keeps it a 2-1 Hartford lead. First action he's seen here in the second half.
Yeah, but it just shows you, doesn't it? When Hartford put pressure on the opposition in key areas, things can happen.
Here's Sheldon. He's got Cedeno supporting on the right. Sheldon gets in. The shot deflected. Boy, Siaha really unhappy with the defense there.
Well, I don't know what he's thinking about with that pass. This is modern day football when goalkeepers are footballers when they used to just be goalkeepers. But that's how a lot of coaches want them to play. It's all about making the most of it if you're in opposition to that. But he's rectified his mistake.
6th corner of the night for Detroit City, looking for the equalizer here in the 68th minute. Headed out of there by Scarlett.
Does that so well.
Now Villanueva, the first sub of the night. Taken off the ball by Cariaga. Played up ahead, Obalola. Presses there to play it up. Angelina heads to Samadia. Plays for Michi. Nice bit of dribbling by Michi. Takes a check by Carroll.
He knew what he was doing.
And that's a yellow card. Perfectly well knew what he was doing.
Got away with that in hockey?
2 minutes. Stephen Carroll out of Cork Island, the captain since year one in 2019.
That's a good touch by Michi. And just get forward, because there's very few defenders in this league that can keep up with him. And he knows exactly what he's doing with the thou shalt not pass attempt.
Mark. Westfield Bank, the regional community bank, focused on its customers and their financial security. The communities that we share and the teams we root for. Westfield Bank, what's better banking all about? Online at westfieldbank.com. Member FDIC. So the third yellow of the night issued to Detroit.
There's always an area of the park that's just too far out, and there's an area of the park, and it might be here, that's right on the line. I think this will be chipped in. Maybe just too far out for Anderson.
Anderson with the chip. Farrell the header.
Offside.
And it's offside, so it'll all come back.
Yeah, it's right on the line there. It's probably a good 35 yards. You can usually tell, depending on who's over it, if they fancy it or they don't, but that was never going to be an attempt on goal.
Played up ahead. There's Connor Roots. Drops it back to Cedeno. Good play by Sheldon.
Play the advantage, referee.
The advantage there.
Goodness me.
Hartford had numbers, but Rodrigo Albuquerque was a little over-anxious.
Do you know what? It actually suits Hartford in a way, because they can run down the clock with an extra 60 seconds or so. But don't make it this obvious.
Yeah.
I mean,
now Albuquerque's telling Siaha, get to the ball quicker.
Look, if this isn't added on, you get away with it. But it should have been, advantage should have been played. But if you don't get the advantage, then you can't make it as obvious as this that you're trying to time waste.
Once again, Hartford second in the group with 6 points. Rhode Island first with 9.
Yeah, it still means they're going to have to go and win there, because the draw won't be enough, because Rhode Island would win the tie break if the teams are level on points, and that's goals scored. Unless Hartford score 3 in the second half to take them 1 more than Rhode Island, who've got 9 goals. Hartford have now got 7.
Now it's Detroit's turn to be unhappy as the foul is called on the far side.
Honestly, who'd be a referee? You just get it in the neck from everybody.
This is Haruki Yamazuki. Played his college ball at Oral Roberts after coming over from Japan. We're going to see one of the leading goal scorers in league history momentarily. Sebastian Guenzahi will enter the match. Sent in, headed.
So close from
Knocked
Joe Farrell.
Away. Oh, Joe Farrell with a golden opportunity. Hartford will get a corner.
They're not going to make the change before this corner is taken. It's just get it into the area. It's the near post flick. Good save. Onto the post. Yep. Very good save.
So it'll be Sebastian Anderson to
That
trigger
close.
from the left of Carlos Herrera. 2-1 Hartford as we play into the 72nd minute. End of Hartford's June homestand. They've had 4 games in June all here at Trinity Health as Hartford goes short. Played towards the box, headed backwards, and then cleared. This one will go over the near sideline. Price Chopper, an official partner of Hartford Athletic. Soccer fans save 15% with your Advantage Edge card off general admission tickets to all Hartford Athletic home games at Trinity Health Stadium Visit PriceChopper.com for more details on this amazing offer. So Sebastian Guenzati, the 33-year-old from Uruguay, 8th all-time leading scorer in USL Championship history. Boy, we'd almost put that one on the boot of Carriaga.
It's good responses from Hartford. They've pushed a little bit further up the field, and they're not as deep. It's making an impression.
Prentice can't chase that one down. Errant pass by Scarlett. So Detroit down a goal with the possession.
Just a word for Hartford Athletic under 12s who are competing down in Virginia, having won the state championship up here. They won their first game 5-2 earlier today. Play tomorrow against West Virginia and then Monday against Penn West. So going well. The under 14s also the state champions and down there too.
Sent towards the box, and Macangila lays out to knock it out of danger. Carriaga showing his ball handling skills. Taken away. Almost a hold on Macangila. Now they call him
it's a card.
for the foul on Dioff.
All day long, tug at the jersey, and you guaranteed a yellow. It's lucky he didn't get done for that the first time. He was making sure that he was going to get a yellow. Picks up a lot, doesn't he, Macangila? Just for silly things like that.
He had a double yellow card in one game.
I mean, that's poor positioning. He's not exactly sprinted Diouf to get clear of Macangila. That's just a poor starting position, and he knows he's going to get a yellow. If not at first, then eventually. And now this is within this range. This is no more than
the way you can go for goal.
Yeah, this is no more than 30, probably 28, because the edge of the D is 22. With the angle towards goal, it's probably about 28 yards. And this is something that Ryan Williams will fancy. We've already got one
on the far side.
Sorry, Joe. We've got one Hartford player who's already scored against his former club tonight. We're going to get another one here.
Ryan Williams, 34-year-old from Birkenhead in the UK, in his second year in Detroit. And you see the Hartford wall, the green wall of Hartford. Rodrigo Albuquerque moves him a step to the left. See what Ryan Williams has up his sleeve. Hitting it into the sweets. Came over the top and didn't really get much on it as Arturo Dispe gets set to check in.
Someone's going to get big for time wasting if they keep trying this. 75 minutes on the clock, and it's pretty obvious.
So we're into the 76th minute here. Shots in the second half, 3-1 Detroit.
Wonder who Dispe comes on for.
Michi?
Well, see, the thing is with Michi, you can also play him through the middle, so you could bring him on for Dieng and move Michi, but I still think you need to double team Sheldon. So,
We'll see momentarily when Arturo goes to the table.
Maybe Carriaga. Because I don't think you want to take Michi off because he's done all right getting back in the second half. I'll go Carriaga. Who are you going for your substitution?
I think it's going to be Michi.
Okay.
We'll see momentarily. Hartford protecting the 2-1 lead, and it will be Carriaga.
Yes. Not that he's going off, but just that I got it right.
Well, you know,
broken clock is right twice a day.
Twice a day, there, big fella. I want to say Detroit looking for the equalizer. Michael Bryant plays it cross field.
You also have the option to play Dispe as a defensive midfielder. I think that might be where he comes in, because I think he played the last few minutes last week as a kind of holder just in front of the defenders, because you've got three centre-backs.
Scarlett from the turf displaces Guenzati from the ball.
It's good pressure from Detroit.
Yeah, Roots all over Samadia, who barely got it back to Siaha. Jag called for the foul. Pretty obvious one right there as he takes down Ryan Williams.
So we know it's Carriaga coming off. If he does go into defensive midfield area, Dispe will be alongside Makingila. So that's a fair bit of protection there for the back three. You can't really play 4 centre-backs as centre-backs because there's not enough room.
Here's Samuel Carriaga. Not as effective as last week, but still pretty good.
I thought he was good in the first half. Yeah, he wanted the ball. He was. Yeah, I thought he put a good shift in tonight, Carriaga. I think that's a smart sub by Brendan Burke.
So Dispe does go to that defensive midfielder spot next to Makingila.
That makes sense.
78th minute. Hartford 2, Detroit 1. Round 3 of the Jägermeister Cup, which concludes July 26th. Other match tonight, Pittsburgh and Westchester. 2 teams looking for their first point. Chipped in. Farrell knocks it out of danger.
Yeah, Sebastian Anderson's got to keep his position on that right-hand side. Just got caught coming in a little bit there.
Chipped in. Scarlett can't get a head on it. Ball is loose. Sheldon can't tee it up. And Anderson runs onto it outside the box.
That's a great ball for Dispe.
Taken right away, though. Good defense by Detroit City. Forming up again. Oh, that's going to hurt.
It was a brilliant ball to Dispe, who did not do anywhere near enough to try and keep possession of the football. I know he's just on, and it was a tough one, but you need the ball to stick. When you're bringing on players like this to basically shore up what you have and you're taking off creativity, I think it was the right substitution. But even though he's just on, his touch has got to be better than that, because I thought the ball to him was absolutely outstanding.
Head athletic trainer Matt Diaz attending to Sebastian Anderson. Let's see the damage.
Oh, this is
up close.
Oh.
Oh, right off the left side of his head. Dayhill Dome, the place to play. Open to all ages and abilities. Rent their facility to run your own program or register for one of theirs. Either way, they welcome everyone to experience the best sports facility in the region. Visit dayhilldome.com to learn more. Along with our producer, the inimitable Bobby Kaplan, our director, Sir Thomas of Stanwyck, Mark Donaldson. I'm Joe D'Ambrosio. As you see some of the crowd out here, 82 degrees when we kick things off. Turned out to be a beautiful late afternoon in the capital region. Anderson still on the pitch, gathering himself. You know, one thing I've always enjoyed, I haven't said this to you yet, one thing I've always enjoyed about soccer is, so the trainer comes on the field, he brings the carton that has the water in it, and inevitably it's the other team that goes to the water first.
Back in the day, we used to call it a magic sponge. And you know it's only water, but I tell you what, when it's like minus goodness knows what in Scotland, and you get that across your face, you're more than happy to get rid of him and get back on to the field of play.
Scarlett with the header. And they bring Anderson back in, taken away. Good play that time by the captain, Stephen Carroll. Now Williams sends it into the box. Headed out. Collision.
Doesn't have to go for that, Dispe.
Dispe.
Does not have to go for that. Now, you can say I won the ball, but when you go over the top, it's just play smart. Let's have another look at this.
That Sheldon holding on to his left hip. Hits the ground pretty hard.
See, I can understand both sides here. I can understand Brendan Burke not happy at all. He didn't think that was a free kick. He thought Dispe was perfectly entitled to go for that. I think the referee has seen it as Dispe has gone for it, but he's committed the foul before he's got the ball. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here and see both sides of the story. The referee's given the free kick. Hartford have got to defend this.
See who takes it, if it's Villanueva or Diouf. From the left of Siaha. It'll be Diouf. Bends it. Headed away. Over the east side line. Throw in Detroit. They have controlled the play for about the last 10-12 minutes or so. Unable, though, to secure the tying goal.
Yeah, their final game is at home to Westchester, which they're likely to win. So there is a possibility of 3 teams being on 9 points. So they have to score twice without conceding 1.
Farrell can't get ahead on it. It'll run through to Dioff. Marked by Makingila. Played back to Yamazaki. Sent in. Headed wide. Well, Hartford playing with fire here.
They are, and they're getting deeper and deeper.
On fire marshal night.
Good delivery in by Ryan Williams. That's that header from Michael Bryant, which, yeah, if that's on target, I don't think Siaha's getting that one. It's been a good second half from Detroit. They just haven't been able to create more chances. They haven't got anything that's really troubled the goalkeeper Siaha, despite having a lot more of possession. So we're in a weird situation right now, Joe, in the 84th minute, because a goal for Detroit doesn't change things for Hartford,
right,
but 2 goals for Detroit does. Because Hartford are still going to have to go to Rhode Island unless they score 5 goals in this game. Certainly 4, and then we go to second tiebreakers. They're going to have to go to Rhode Island on the 26th of July and win. Assuming they win or draw today.
Foul called. Connor Roots displaced off the ball by aggressive. Get it.
Yeah, the interesting thing from Detroit is knowing that they've got Westchester at home on the last day. A draw is no use to them because that would put them on 4 points, and that would be them done.
If they won the shootout, they'd get the extra point, so they'd have 5, but it still would.
It's probably not. Yeah, it's probably not going to be enough. They need to win the game inside of 90 minutes. That would then take them to 6 points, and if they were to win it, it would then give them 6 goals. You just knew this was happening here. There was no way. You've got to be sly when it comes to time wasting. Don't make it as obvious. You knew it was going to happen. It was just a case of who, and it's Siaha that was booked for time wasting. But a win or a draw for Hartford would mean they still have to go to Rhode Island and win if they don't score the 4 or 5 goals required.
Here's Dispay. Spinning move by Jiang. Displaced. Nice play, Villanueva. Over the top. Anderson there to protect the fort. Dispay inadvertently plays it to a Detroit player. And it'll be a Hartford throw-in.
Remember, Thomas Vonke-Ziel was someone that we never really were sure if he was a better centre-back or a defensive midfielder. Could play both. Dispay doing that right now. He's given the ball away again. He's had 1 good touch, and the rest have been not so good since he came on.
Tonight's Hartford Business Journal. Tonight's Hartford Business Journal Business Alliance partner of the match, Environ Energy. Guinzotti taken off by Scarlett, but it'll be another corner for Detroit. Their 7th of the match. They scored off one of them when they played the ball short. And then Michael Bryant headed it to Matt Sheldon, who had a brilliant header for the only Detroit goal. This will be Atez Dioff. Winds it back. Handball called on Detroit in the box. Much to their chagrin.
Yeah, I'd quite like to see that again. I don't think it's a handball for either side. I think the arms were done by the side. Might be wrong. Danny Dicchio inquiring in non-Disney language. That's a handball. He used to have a big head of hair. He used to wear a ponytail when he played. He was a fearsome striker. Long flowing locks, ponytail, would come in, was not frightened of anything. He was a really good striker, Danny Dicchio, back in the day.
Tell you what, Siaha's pushing the time thing some more.
I've been covering football for goodness knows how long. I'm not sure I've ever seen anybody sent off for 2 cautions in the same game, both for time wasting. You usually get a final warning after being booked.
Angelina called for the foul on Bryant. Quick restart by the visitors in white. La Rouge. Nice defense there by Prestis. Played backwards by Hartford. Samadia will turn to the outside and play it off Sheldon, so it'll be a Hartford throw-in.
I like Samadia as a footballer. Just gets it solid. That's his favourite position. Good lad, but a good footballer, and does the simple things well.
It'll be a Scarlet throw-in.
There was
Dispay
left a calling card on.
Took down Yamazaki.
He did indeed.
Now Jang hasn't seen the ball on his boot much. Plays for Michi. Played back.
How?
Foul on Michi.
How?
That's what Brendan Burke is asking.
Oh, okay. He's made some interesting calls for both sides. There was a couple that Detroit should have had, and certainly in the first half, that didn't get a sniff of. And
heading towards what should be a very brief amount of stoppage time. Really, the only issue was the injury suffered by Anderson.
Yeah, a lot of subs though, Joe, and they normally give 30 seconds for each sub, and that's again, I think it's Dispay once more.
And this is in a dangerous position for Detroit.
He's been more of a hindrance than a help to Hartford since coming on.
And I think Hartford's going to get a yellow. No. Yep. Somebody from Hartford's going to get a yellow. I think it's Brendan. Yep.
He's just put his thumb up in acknowledgement to that. I can kind of understand why there was confusion from Brendan Burke as to how on earth Missy Angelina was penalised.
And so once again, a dangerous restart just outside the box. Villanueva and Diouf both there. Looks like, I don't think Villanueva is going to take this. Nope, Diouf spins it in. Headed, shot and a goal. Matt Sheldon equalizes the match at 2 in the 90th minute.
That's on Dispay, sorry to say. You've got to defend better, yeah, but don't concede the free kick in the first place. It's a good delivery by Diouf. They climb on each other, and there's Matt Sheldon. So as it stands, there's 5 added minutes. It's 2-2. Detroit would be out if they don't score again. Hartford can go through with a 2-2 draw if they win at Rhode Island last game. But Detroit will push everybody forward to try and get this winner to keep them alive. And Dispay's gone for goal from kickoff, but it's gone wide.
So Matt Sheldon spent 1 year with Hartford. Has both Detroit goals tonight, both off restarts. And we've got 5 minutes of Brignall Vineyard stoppage time. 90th minute, we have a collision in the middle of the field. Dispay is down for Hartford.
I'm trying to guess by the Hartford players' reaction as to whether or not they've got the free kick or what the decision is here.
Collided with Ryan Williams. Brendan Burke talking to the assistant referee on the near side.
I tell you what's happening there. The over-officious Zeno Cho is basically saying to Brendan, you're a 0.4 of a millimetre outside of your technical area, get back.
Here's Detroit on the attack, all even at 2. Hartford held the lead for 61 minutes. They needed more. Here's Sheldon. The chip. Header. It'll be run onto by Yamazaki. Plays it wide for Sheldon.
Ooh, it's a sore one.
Right off the captain, Jordan Scarlett. It'll be another corner kick, but Scarlett, oh no, it'll be a goal kick.
No, it's not Scarlett.
Oh, it's not Scarlett.
Scarlett's in the middle.
Is that Obalola? No, we're going to wait.
It's a corner. That's the thing. Now, 2-2's not the end of the world. If you concede in the 90th minute when you've led for so long in the league and you drop the 2 points, That hurts, but this doesn't hurt them as long as they don't lose the game. They know they have to win at Rhode Island anyway.
The off with the corner. On the left of Siaha. No, Rodrigo Albuquerque in to have a word with Sheldon, who's been involved in everything tonight. Matt Sheldon, the social media darling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's decent on that, and he's been decent tonight. He would love a hat-trick.
Oh,
goodness. That would be a sore one for Hartford to take. We've got some defending to do here.
Ates Diouf to initiate. Bends it back. Headed up in the air.
Good
Siaha
goalkeeping.
climbs the ladder to make the play and rolls out the restart. Engelina up the near side. Taken away. Here's Diouf. Cuts to the middle. Obalola takes him down.
It's an arm on the shoulder. I get that.
Hartford going back to some of the undisciplined ways.
Well, what I would say initially with Siaha, yeah, you can see your game management's got to be good here, right? You know that 2-2 is a decent enough result. So from the restart, Deespe tries to score instead of keep possession. There you've got bodies forward, but if you just take a little bit of sting out of the game, you can just count down the clock a little bit more. Instead, it's played quickly. That's a grab around the shoulder. That's a yellow card. Now here's the free kick.
Set towards the box.
Offside.
It'll be offside. That is the 5th yellow on Hartford tonight.
He didn't realize there, Stephen Carroll. He thought that might have been their ball, but then eventually the assistant on this near side, Zeno Cho, has told the referee that the offside flag was raised.
You may remember in the U.S. Open Cup, Hartford lost in penalty kicks to Portland, which was successful on all 4. Hartford missed on 2.
Penalty still to come if there's no further goals.
Played up ahead. Herrera plays it ankle high in the box and takes his time. So we are entering towards the 6th minute of stoppage time. Sheldon displaced. Here's Guenzotti. Plays it in the middle. Telegraphed that pass.
Brilliant.
Knocked away. Preston sent sprawling. Hartford might have had an advantage. And Rodrigo Albuquerque drawing the wrath of everybody in green.
It's just too quick with a whistle. Let the play breathe, referee. Just take a second. Assess the situation. Yes, it's a foul. Yes, the player's going to be booked for the challenge on Prestus. But see what's going to develop. And if it's a clear attacking opportunity and an opportunity to attack like that for Hartford, let it go. Let them see what they can do, then come back, then bring your yellow card out, do what you have to do. But come on.
Haruki Yamazaki with the yellow. So here's Siaha going to try to punch it upfield as far as he can.
Someone was on the pitch who thought the game was over, and he's now gone back.
Plays it in, headed, played back, Anderson into the box, cleared out of danger. We're probably entering towards the final minutes. This is going to be a race for the ball. Farrell does a nice job. Great play by Joe Farrell to get it away from Diouf. Played upfield by Hartford. In the direction of Momo Jang. It'll be a Hartford throw-in. Anderson scurries to get there. Hartford brings up the big fellas like Farrell and Scarlett, who have worked hard over these 95 minutes.
Can't leave themselves too short at the back if they lose possession here, Hartford.
Sent in. Played back. Anderson puts it on the ground. Can't get a shot off. Clear it out. Here's Geoff. Plays it up ahead. Siaha.
That'll do.
Punt it straight in the air, and we'll go to penalty kicks.
Well, as long as Hartford didn't lose, they know that they can go to Rhode Island and win and go through as group winners. Frustrating, 2-1 up for long spells until the 90th minute.
Crowd roars at the announcement by Lance Reiser on the PA that there'll be penalty kicks.
Yeah, they have to decide which end they want to go to. They're hoping it's not at the hospitality suites end because that's for the VIPs only. So this is where we are right now. Rhode Island winning last night against Portland. So they've got 9 points from 3 games and 9 goals. Hartford are guaranteed to have at least 6 points. Guaranteed to have at least 7 points because they won their first 2. They would have 8 points if they won the penalty shootout. Their goals stand at 7. So that's not enough to go through as group winners. But here's where it gets complicated as well, because it's the 2 best group runners-up with the most points. And right now you don't know how many points are going to be enough.
That's totally a roll of the dice, right?
It is. Detroit are guaranteed 4 points. They already had 3, a win and a loss. They have 5 goals. If they win on penalties, that would take them up to 5 points. Again, that's unlikely, but
they couldn't go past Rhode Island.
No, but I'm saying there's two second
yes.
spots available. Who would be the unseeded 2 in the next round? But from a positive perspective from Hartford, they know that their future in this competition is in their own hands. Because if they win at Rhode Island on the 26th of July, they would go through as group winners. They needed at least a point tonight, and they've got that. Game of 2 halves, wasn't it?
Which really was. Shots ended up 19-9. 7-1 in the second half in favor of Detroit.
Yeah, but how many of them actually troubled goalkeeper Siaha? It wasn't until they equalized in the 90th minute from Matt Sheldon.
He only had 2 saves.
There you go.
As did Herrera. So Hartford will go first. Is the word we get from down on the pitch. If you're Hartford, who do you lead off with now? The problem for Hartford is one of their best penalty kickers is sitting next to us in the press box, and Kyle Williams out with illness.
Yeah, they hope Kyle will be back for a couple of weeks' time when they go to
Detroit.
Detroit
Stadium.
Yep. It's going to be taken at the hospitality suites end.
Yeah, it's going to be taken at the south end. Well, the crowd is into it, that's for sure.
But you don't often see penalty shootouts, do you?
No.
Because there's not many cup competitions in this country. You've got the US Open Cup, and that was about it for teams like Hartford. So I think the addition of the Jägermeister Cup has been a very good thing for the league calendar.
Here you see the 2 netminders, 2 goalkeepers, Anthony Siaha, towel around his neck, Carlos Herrera in the pale blue, the Carolina blue. And it will be Michi Galena, who scored on a penalty kick in the loss at Charleston, but missed the penalty kick against Portland Hearts of Pine.
So it still means a lot for Hartford, because if they can win this penalty shootout and maybe get a draw in Rhode Island, that would take them onto 9 points. It wouldn't see them through as group winners, but there's a decent chance that as second place team with 9 points, that might get you through. So there's a lot to play for here.
So Galena, who scored Hartford's second goal in the 29th minute, will go first against Carlos Herrera. Best of 5 penalty kicks. Albuquerque blows his whistle. And that is exactly what happened to Michi at Portland.
It is indeed.
Airmailed it. So, now it'll be Anthony Siaha between the woodwork, and it looks like Atez Diouf will be the first one to step to the spot.
Here's the interesting thing for Detroit. They win on penalties. They go on to 5 points. They beat Westchester final round. They go to 8 points. If Hartford don't win at Rhode Island, then Detroit could finish above Hartford by goals scored, depending on how many they get against Westchester.
And again, it's impossible to figure out the runner-up scenario.
Correct. Just win the penalty shootout, and then we'll reconvene.
So here's Atez Diouf against Anthony Siaha. Save by Siaha. And you see the 2 red lights on the score bug, meaning neither team scored. Now it'll be Sebastian Anderson, who scored the first goal of the night in the 2nd minute. Fans have gotten their money's worth tonight.
I think it's been a good game, entertaining. Both sides have played their part.
Hartford players armed lock standing in their technical area. Saved by Herrera.
Let's play first to score, will we?
Neither team has been able to find the back of the net. Nice sign of sportsmanship there by the goalies.
Yeah, they did that after the save by Siaha as well.
Here's Connor Roots.
He fills up a lot of that goal, doesn't he? Siaha?
It's a large Uanin goal. So Connor Roots, who came on as a second half substitute. And that is saved! Wow! Can anybody score a PK?
Is this going to last as long as Benfica Chelsea did earlier with the delay for weather and the extra time in Charlotte? Goodness gracious.
We've had 4 shots, 1 miss, 3 saves.
Keepers have been brilliant. Dan Gaspar, the Hartford goalkeeping coach, making sure that Siaha saw the encouragement from the technical area.
Now it's Momo Jang.
If it continues at this rate, the man sitting beside us will be getting his jersey on.
Get him in uniform.
Everybody's missed. Kyle Edwards.
Such a friendly, good young man, and has had a terrific year. All right, so here's Jang, looking to get Hartford on the board first with the 3rd penalty kick for Athletic. See what Momo has up his sleeve here. And he scores! You knew somebody would score at some point, Mark. We weren't going to go 10 penalty kicks. And it's 1-0 Hartford. And now it's one of the all-time great goal scorers in USL Championship history, the veteran from Uruguay, Sebastian Guenzati.
Does he go to the keeper's left? Because both saves have been the goalie's right.
Siaha trying to distract him. Now Guenzati.
He does.
Ties the PKs at 1.
Exactly what he does.
Went left.
Yep. Goalies will have a favorite side. Some will be good at both, but most have got a preference as to which side they like to go to.
Now the veteran, Joe Farrell, will step to the 12-yard spot for Hartford as we go to round 4 of the penalty kicks. So after 4 misses, Jang and Guenzati found the back of the net. Farrell gets the whistle from Rodrigo Albuquerque. And he scores! Good job by Joe Farrell. Hesitated, made his move, and drilled it to the back of the net.
That would have been interesting if he'd gone to the other side and the goalie saved it, because there was a little bit of a stutter step from Joe. And when he struck the ball, both the goalkeeper's feet were in front of the line. You only need to have one behind the line, but both were there. He went the wrong way, it doesn't matter. But that's why there's an assistant, Zeno Cho, right on the goal line to make sure. We don't have VAR here, of course. One of the feet has to be behind the line when the ball is struck from the goalkeeper.
Here's Yamazaki.
Good penalty.
Tied at 2. No hesitation. So we go to the 5th and final round. And then if we're tied, they go 1 shot at a time. Drilled that with confidence. Who is taking the 5th kick for Hartford? Arturo Dispay. The big fella.
Well, hopefully his night's about to get better.
Looking to make up for what was a shaky appearance after coming in. 5th and possibly final round. Dispay gets the whistle. Saved by Herrera.
That is a brilliant save by Herrera. Penalties can be missed or penalties can be saved. Although that was missed, for me, that is a really, really good save. Mishi's was missed because that's not come back down to terra firma yet. But that is a brilliant save, and now they have a chance to win it.
Michael Bryan with a chance to win it and get Detroit the extra point. You can hear the crowd urging Siaha on. If Bryant makes it, the match is over. And he scores, and Detroit wins in penalty kicks. As they race on the field to congratulate Herrera and Bryant. So a disappointing ending for Hartford. And give Detroit credit. They got the equalizer. Big night for Matt Sheldon. And then win in the penalty kicks to get the extra point. So Hartford now with 7 points in the group, and Detroit with 5. Mark and I'll come back and wrap it up next, right here on ESPN+.
They say it's a radio show, so why are we on TV? That's a good question. We've got a lot of them for Sean McCauley. The Indy 11 head coach joins us this week.
I feel like he's got some ideas that are going to help revolutionize the Indy 11 and what the championship looks like moving forward from a recruiting standpoint. North Carolina FC ends Louisville's historic unbeaten run to start the season. What does it mean overall?
We chat about all that and more. USL All Access Tuesday night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.
Fans, join us for our next home match Wednesday, July 16th at 7 o'clock against the Tampa Bay Rowdies as we celebrate Grateful Dead Night, along with everyone's favorite $2 beer, $1 hot dog night, presented by Modell. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today at HartfordAthletic.com. Our match brought to you in part tonight by Central Connecticut State University. Apply today at ccsu.edu. We'll mark something for everybody in this match tonight.
Yeah, and now you get calculators out. So both games on the 26th of July between Rhode Island and Hartford and Detroit City and Westchester are scheduled to kick off at 7 p.m. Rhode Island are top with 9 points. Hartford have 7, Detroit have 5. A Detroit win, which is expected, along with goals, will put them on 8 points and more than 5 goals. A Hartford draw depends on how many goals they score. A Hartford win at Rhode Island, they would then knock out Rhode Island from being a group winner. Hartford would go through as group winners. Rhode Island would probably go through with 9 points as one of the best second-place teams. But there's something from everybody on the final round of games on the 26th of July.
Anderson and Engelina for Hartford. Max Sheldon with 2 for Detroit, including the equalizer in the 90th minute. And then Detroit outscores Hartford 3-2 in the penalty kicks. For Tom Stanwicks, Bobby Kaplan, our entire Power Station crew, and my broadcast partner, Mark Donaldson, I'm Jody Ambrosio. The final score in full time, Hartford 2, Detroit 2. Have a great night, everybody. Hartford looking change of possession.